The red community alert appeared before Naomi Redmond finished carrying the groceries from her car. Possible stolen vehicle. Below it, a second line identified the source. Operator, not listed as resident. Beverly Stanton had sent the notice from the Ashbury Crest security account. Her title appeared beneath the message. Oh, President. No theft report number appeared on the screen. No owner had reported the silver Rolls-Royce missing. The alert contained no description of forced entry, damaged glass, or a person taking keys. It contained Naomi's license plate. She did not see the alert. She was standing beside her driveway with a paper grocery bag against one hip and the passenger door open behind her. Across the street, Paige Dalton held her phone above the fence rail. The livestream frame showed Naomi, the Rolls-Royce, and 3 grocery cartons on the pavement. It did not show the mansion behind her. The day before, Naomi had arrived at Ashbury Crest with a moving crew. She wore jeans, a white shirt, and flat leather shoes. When one mover lost his grip on a wooden crate, Naomi set down her clipboard and helped guide it onto the front step. Grant Hollowell watched from beside his mailbox. "Owner must be sending staff ahead." Beverly heard him. She did not correct him. The moving truck carried a placard near its rear door. Relocation for Naomi Redmond. Paige's first recording began after the placard had moved outside the frame. Ashbury Crest maintained a resident contact roster for gate messages, emergency telephone numbers, clubhouse bookings, and package notices. New owners were normally added after the management company received a closing notice. The shared board mailbox had received Naomi's notice 3 days earlier. Leah Whitfield had opened the message. Beverly had then marked the entry pending. Orientation incomplete. The roster did not state that orientation established ownership. It did not state that a missing name meant trespass. Beverly still referred to it as the resident verification list. When Naomi opened the garage that afternoon, sunlight crossed the hood of the Rolls-Royce inside. Grant lowered the hedge clippers in his hand. "Whose car is that?" Naomi checked the garage clearance before answering. "Mine." Grant looked toward Beverly's porch. Beverly opened the roster on her phone. Naomi's name did not appear because the pending entry remained hidden from the resident view. Beverly did not ask Naomi for her name. She pressed the security alert icon. The following afternoon, Officer Evan Mallory turned into the cul-de-sac while Naomi was unloading groceries. His patrol car stopped behind the Rolls-Royce. The roof lights remained active. Naomi placed the paper bag on the driveway. "Please, step away from the vehicle." She moved 3 paces toward the lawn and kept both hands visible. Beverly crossed the street with her HOA credential card hanging from a blue cord. Grant followed her. Paige adjusted the angle of her phone. Mallory asked Naomi whether the car belonged to her. "It does." He entered the plate number into the mobile unit. A result appeared. Registered owner, Naomi Redmond. Stolen status, none. Mallory read the screen twice. His hand moved toward the button that would close the vehicle inquiry. Beverly stopped beside the patrol door and held out her phone. "She is not on our resident list." Mallory looked at the roster. Naomi looked at the mansion number fixed beside the driveway. It matched the address printed on the grocery delivery label inside the open bag. "The vehicle result is clear," Mallory said. Beverly moved the roster closer. "The property has been vacant. The association has not verified a new resident." Leah stood on her porch with the shared mailbox acknowledgement open on her tablet. She could see Naomi's closing notice, the delivery time, and Beverly's pending instruction beneath it. She did not cross the street. Mallory turned back toward Naomi. "I need you to remain here while we clarify your connection to the property." Naomi did not reach for the car or the front door. "What source is keeping the contact open after the vehicle check cleared?" Mallory glanced at Beverly's credential card. He did not answer. The plate belonged to Naomi. The car had never been reported stolen, so why did a list Beverly controlled still have the power to keep Naomi beside the road? "Keep the key fob where I can see it." Officer Evan Mallory pointed to the stone bench beside the curb. Naomi Redmond placed the black fob on the dry surface and stepped back. The vehicle inquiry had already cleared. Her name matched the state return. No stolen entry existed. Mallory still opened a fresh dispatch worksheet. Beverly Stanton stood beside the hood of the police cruiser and supplied the management company's after-hours number. She spoke slowly, as though reading from a service card. They can confirm who is allowed in the house. Naomi looked at the brass address plate beside the walkway. The number matched the property line, printed on the county recording receipt she had removed from her document sleeve. Mallory called the number. A recorded voice announced that the office had closed and would reopen the next morning. He left a message. Then he asked Naomi to wait. A white plumbing van rolled through the cul-de-sac while the recording played. Beverly lifted 2 fingers toward the driver. No one stopped the van. No one asked whether the plumber's name appeared in any neighborhood file. Paige Dalton moved along the opposite sidewalk with a handheld stabilizer. Her broadcast showed Naomi beside the curb, and Mallory writing on the worksheet. The mansion remained outside the frame. Naomi could hear Paige describing an ownership dispute. There was no dispute from any legal owner. Mallory examined Naomi's driver's license. It still carried her former address because the move had closed less than a month earlier. He placed it beside the worksheet and asked whether she had anything showing the new property. Naomi did not list the purchase price. She did not mention the other buildings she owned. She opened the county portal and entered the recording number. The result displayed her full name, the Ashbury Crest address, and the filing date. A county seal appeared above the document index. Mallory copied the number onto a verification card. Beverly leaned toward the display. That does not mean the association completed its process. The standard moved again. First, Naomi had not appeared on a neighborhood list. Now the management company needed to answer. Then the board needed to complete something Beverly would not name. Naomi sent the recording number to Adrian Frost, the attorney who had handled the closing. Adrian replied with a transmission cover sheet showing when the association's management office had received the ownership notice. Mallory read the sheet. He still waited for the return call. Naomi watched Leah Whitfield on the far porch. Leah held a printed mail gateway receipt against the railing. One corner carried the same date as Adrian's cover sheet. Leah took one step toward the street. Beverly turned her head. Leah stopped. Grant Hollowell stood near a decorative lamppost and told Mallory that the former owner's estate had kept the property empty for months. He did not say he had seen Naomi take the car. He did not say anyone else claimed it. Mallory wrote his name on a witness contact slip anyway. Micah Boone waited astride his bicycle near the drainage grate. His camera pointed wide enough to include the police cruiser, Beverly, Naomi, and the house number. The police radio repeated the state result. Registered owner confirmed. No stolen return. Micah lowered the camera. Paige kept hers raised. Adrian called Mallory directly. Naomi heard only his side of the exchange. He confirmed the recording number, then asked whether an association orientation had taken place. He listened. His pen stopped above the worksheet. Orientation had no effect on title. Mallory ended the call and returned Naomi's license. He picked up the key fob from the stone bench and placed it in her palm. The contact was over. Beverly called it a misunderstanding before Mallory reached his cruiser. Naomi looked toward Leah. The mail gateway receipt was no longer in her hand. Later that evening, Adrian forwarded Naomi a notice from Marla Fenwick, the compliance director for the management company. But Leah had sent 3 records to the company's independent review address. The ownership notice receipt, Beverly's instruction to hold the new entry, the change history from the neighborhood account. Marla aligned the timestamps on a printed review strip. The closing notice had arrived first. Beverly's hold instruction came next. The theft call came last. A second comparison sat beneath them. A white family admitted during the previous quarter had been entered on the day of closing. Their orientation occurred 2 weeks later. Leah had possessed enough information to interrupt the contact while Naomi was still standing beside the curb. Step into the street and admit the board already had the notice, or remain on the porch and protect the position Beverly controlled. Which would you choose before knowing an outside review had begun? Marla Fenwick removed a laminated clause from the association handbook and placed it beneath the document camera. Beverly Stanton had cited the neighborhood safety provision. It allowed a board officer to warn residents about an observed hazard or a reported crime in progress. Beverly had stopped reading there. The next paragraph prohibited using amenity records, contact directories, or orientation status to establish ownership, occupancy, or criminal suspicion. Naomi Redmond sat near the end of the conference table. Adrian Frost had supplied only the ownership, confirmation, delivery history, and sequence of the police contact. "I acted under the safety provision," Beverly said. Marla turned the clause so the full paragraph faced her. The provision required observable conduct. No damaged lock had been reported. No legal owner had called about a missing vehicle. No witness had seen Naomi take a key, enter a restricted property, or remove anything from the house. The accusation began with her absence from an internal directory whose entry Beverly had chosen to delay. A metadata printout showed the sequence. The management office received Naomi's closing notice first. Beverly placed her status on hold next. The theft call came last. Marla added a prior onboarding record beside the timestamps. A white couple had received neighborhood access on the date of closing. Their orientation took place 14 days later. Beverly called the difference an administrative exception. She could not identify an approving officer, a written request, or a policy clause supporting it. When Marla asked whether the board already possessed Naomi's closing information, Leah Whitfield raised one hand. She confirmed that she had opened the notice and that Beverly told her not to activate Naomi until an in-person meeting occurred. Leah had watched the police contact while carrying information that could have ended it. Her later disclosure preserved the account history. It did not remove that earlier choice. Micah Boone submitted a sealed flash drive containing his wide-angle footage. The audio captured the state vehicle clearance before Beverly redirected Officer Evan Mallory toward neighborhood status. It also captured Grant Hollowell claiming Naomi could not be the homeowner without identifying any conduct he had personally observed. Paige Dalton's broadcast archive showed a narrower frame. Her crop removed most of Naomi's house. Her caption used the word theft before the officer established any crime. Marla asked who had received the original broadcast. Paige supplied the audience export. A separate police review found Mallory's initial inquiry reasonable because dispatch had sent him to a reported vehicle theft. Continuing after the state return cleared, Naomi required a separate lawful basis. An association title was not one. A private directory was not one. An orientation requirement was not one. The department removed Mallory from its community liaison assignment for one review cycle. His incident entry was corrected to state that the registered owner had been contacted following an unsupported caller assumption and that no theft had occurred. The Records Division removed Naomi's name from the Vehicle Theft Subject Index. A written certification confirmed that no suspicious person notation, ownership warning, or unresolved property inquiry remained attached to her driver record or address. Beverly was removed as association president. Her access to security communications and resident administration ended before the session closed. A formal censure was entered into the association minutes and distributed to every homeowner. The order permanently barred her from serving on any security, communications, compliance, or resident screening committee at Ashbury Crest. Her resignation could not replace the finding. Grant lost his safety committee position for presenting an assumption as direct knowledge. He was prohibited from submitting association-endorsed security reports for the remainder of his residency. Paige lost posting privileges in all official neighborhood groups. Her correction had to appear on the same account, at the same hour, and before the same subscriber groups that had received the original broadcast. The correction could not be shortened, monetized, or removed for 90 days. Leah received a formal failure to correct finding and temporarily lost administrative access. Her cooperation reduced the sanction. It did not convert silence into intervention. The association voided every warning concerning Naomi. A certified correction notice went to each security contractor, board member, resident account, and neighborhood channel that had received the accusation. The association also reimbursed Naomi's legal costs and paid the amount established through a mediated civil settlement. Beverly was named individually in the settlement record because the review found that she had possessed the closing notice before making the call. Naomi did not request a board seat, a welcome event, or a public apology. She requested 3 things: the corrected police entry, the voided association warning, the delivery record showing who received the correction. Marla placed all 3 before her. The board then adopted the source separation rule. Amenity and contact information could no longer be presented as evidence of ownership or residency. A safety warning required an observable act, an identified source, and a stated time. The person creating a warning could not verify it using data under that person's control. Closing information would be processed by the management company rather than a volunteer board officer. Every correction would be sent to the same recipients and channels that received the original accusation. Police dispatch added its own restriction. A caller's association title would identify the caller. It would not validate the claim. Private neighborhood information would be marked unverified. Once official vehicle data contradicted an ownership allegation, an officer needed a separate lawful basis to continue the contact. After the session, Marla carried the old security binder into the management office. She removed the divider labeled Resident Verification. The divider went through the document shredder. A new binder stood open on the counter. Amenities and contacts. Inside the front cover, Marla fixed a plain white notice. This directory does not establish ownership, residency, or criminal suspicion. Naomi received the final correction by certified delivery. She checked the effective date, the distribution count, and the police certification number. Every recipient of the accusation appeared on the delivery report. She signed the acknowledgement and placed the return envelope in the outgoing mail slot. The following morning, a maintenance contractor arrived at the Ashbury Crest gate. His name did not appear in the contact directory. The attendant checked the work order. The barrier opened. No security alert followed. Beverly believed the policy had given her authority to protect the neighborhood. What if it had only given her a respectable way to protect her assumption? This story is fictional.